Hello and good evening, and welcome along to the Tuesday edition of The Shed, #IrishBluesMafia with me, Trevor. You're very welcome along to the show. It's a blustery, windy, damp kind of an evening here, but it's not cool, so it's not too bad. So thank you very much for joining. Um, Tonight's show, what I'm going to do is, it won't be too long. It's going to be basically a quick chat about something that's happened a few weeks ago, but I've kind of left it to now to um, talk about it, the Stefon Diggs trade, and just my thoughts on it, um, and where I stand and what I think. Also, what we need to look at in the draft that's coming up and what positions. Also, then I'm just going to have a quick chat about who has come in and who has come out in different areas, and are we strong enough there, or do we need to have more backup and concentrate on that a bit more than uh, say just the obvious positions in the draft. And finally, for something different, I said I'd do it last week, but unfortunately, I wasn't feeling well last Thursday and Friday, so I didn't do a video. So tonight, I'm going to talk about WrestleMania. Now I know it's 10 days out or 9 days out, but um, it's just something different. I watched my first WrestleMania, and as I'll tell you a bit later, it brought me back to happier times. So it did. So let's roll on with the show. So tonight, what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the Stefon Diggs trade. That'll be the main part of it. So Stefon Diggs, um, since I've been a Bills fan, has been one of the main wide receivers at the Bills. Um, has caught some brilliant balls, passes, touchdowns, runs, done great things for the Bills. But one thing that I could never warm to Stefon Diggs, now this is only my personal opinion, is his attitude. Now I know you have to be brazen and you have to be, strong in the NFL like you have in any place in life, but you don't have to rub it in people's faces. Because if you rub something in someone's face, they're going to come back and they're going to wait for you to mess up, and then they're going to give it to you. Now I'm not rubbing anything in Stefon Diggs' faces because he was a Bills player, and I appreciate him for that, and I wish him well at the Texans. But when you make a statement that you say, I am him, and for a good long time there, Stefon Diggs was him, and he did back it up. But from week 6 last year till the end of the season, I am him was not there. End of story. And I just had some numbers I'll throw out at you in a few minutes. I'm not a numbers guy, but just to show you who was him and who wasn't when it came to us getting as far as we got last season. He will also be sadly remembered for the beautiful pass Josh Allen threw him against the Chiefs that he should be a bread and butter catch to him all day, and he dropped. And it's not, these things happen in football, but if he was tackled or bumped or hit or something, you say, but this is what he gets paid big bucks for. And he got paid big bucks for. And you're supposed to deliver when these things happen in them situations. And he did not deliver. And you also look at Gabe Davis, another guy who was throwing beautiful balls and did not deliver. And you could say, well, we'll give them one more year. But I think the Bills made the right decision by moving on Gabe Davis first. And I think the dressing room will be a happier place, or the locker room is called in America, will be a happier place with Stefon Diggs gone. I know they're professionals and it shouldn't matter, but it does matter. We're human beings at the end of the day, and a happy dressing room is a happy team. And if you have someone that's gnarly or unkind or not a team player looking for himself, then you don't need that in the dressing room. So he's gone to the Houston Texans. They have given us, I think it's a second round pick this year. And I'm sorry now, I'm just reading my notes. Yeah, so we were getting a pick from them. Yes, we were giving them a pick, and we're getting two picks back in replace. It's a good trade for us. We have to deal with the cap money of 31 million, but it's part of it. If you want rid of him, you have to pay the dues and to get rid of him. And we need to find a replacement in the draft. So I said I'll give you a few numbers. From week 1 to week 18 or 19, when the Chiefs knocked us out last year, Stefon Diggs had 107 receptions. He was targeted 160 times. So for them, 107 receptions, he had 53 drops, which is not bad, I suppose. But when you're getting big money, you think you'd have to be a bit better. He had 1,183 yards at an average of 11.1 yards per reception. His longest was 55, and he had 19 20-plus yards with 8 touchdowns. So you say, well, that's not bad, a lot of it. It looks good. So the last 10 weeks of the season, how does he rate to Kahil Shakir? Now, I'll give Kahil Shakir's numbers first for the season. He had 39 receptions for the season, 45 targets, so he only dropped 6 balls. He had 611 yards, which is average, almost half of what Stefon Diggs had. His average yards per catch or per reception was 15.7, which is almost 5 yards more than Stefon Diggs. His longest was 81. He had 17 20-plus yards receptions, and he had 2 touchdowns. Now, let's go and knock off the first 6 weeks. So, out of them, Stefon Diggs had 80 targets for the remainder of the season, and he had 422 yards of reception. Kahil Shakir had 37 targets and had 462 yards. So that's 40 yards more than our number one receiver, who is him. Now, where does the problem lie? The problem has lied in our dressing room since January 2023, when he created trouble and caused trouble, and they covered it up as best they could, and they threw a rug over it and threw other things over it or whatever, but it was always there. I don't know the issues or don't want to know them, but it was there. And for the first 5 weeks, he was on fire, and you thought it's done, it's fixed. And the first 5 weeks, we were 4-1, and it wasn't 4-2, 3-2. Sorry, we lost the Jags in week 5. I know, I was there, but them defeats were week 1 against the Jets, where everyone was bad. And in fairness, my hero, Josh Allen, was very bad that night. Can't defend him, but everyone has them games. But Stefon Diggs is no better. And the other defeat was the Jaguars in London. And I don't put that down to players. I put that down to management, because they came on the Friday and the game on the Sunday. Now, the Jags had 2 weeks in London at that stage and were well acclimatized. So it wasn't 2 teams flying over and then played the game and one wins and one doesn't. So I put that defeat down to management. And it was a game we should have won. And by all means could have won. But there was a ball thrown to him that I am him would have caught. And he didn't. And it was an interception against Josh Allen. A big long ball down the field when we needed him to catch a ball. And you could see things were starting to unravel then. And I don't know, he's gone to the Houston Texans, and I wish him all the best. There's no bad eggs with me. I won't. I'm just talking as a football person. I don't know him personally, so I'm not going on about his personal life or anything like that. But I just think that if he brings that attitude into the dressing room with the Texans, then God help CJ Stroud, who I admire and I like, and D'Amico Ryans. He doesn't need it. You have to deal with different attitudes, but he doesn't need that. Because this guy might be in his brain, a 23-year-old, thinking he can catch and run, but realistically, he's losing his pace and he's losing his jump. And now he has something to play for this year. He could ball out because it's only 1 year he's with the Texans, and then part of his deal, he's a free agent again. So he could be reunited with his brother at Dallas for next season. But the good news is he won't be with us. And for me, I'm smiling because I'm happy. Who are we to look at as a replacement in the draft? Well, so far as a wide receiver, we've got Curtis Samuel and KJ Hamler and Mac Hollins in. Now, they are also replacing three we've lost, which is Stefon Diggs, Gabe Davis, and Deontay Hardy. Are they the same caliber as what's in or out? Probably not, but are the team players, and I'd rather a team player? I hope so. So in the draft, there's two guys sort of cropping up all the time now. At the draft's a lottery, and we'll take who we get. But if we stay at number 28, that's a big if, but if we do, the two names that look to be there is Adonai Mitchell from Texas and Xavier Legette from South Carolina. And both of these guys, listening to podcasts, are very highly rated wide receivers. So, and are something that we are looking for. So if Brandon Bean doesn't move up or move down and stays there, these are two guys that should be knock around for us, that we can have a choice. There is others, but these are the two guys I see people's mock drafts come up all the time. And out of 6 mock drafts I looked at just yesterday, there were 3 and 3 for each of them, and nobody else was mentioned at 28. So we'll see. Does it make it weaker? Stefon Diggs is gone right now at the end of last season. No. The first 5 games of last season, I would be saying, yeah, we have a big hole to fill. But Kahil Shakir stood up, was excellent. Dalton Kincaid stood up, was excellent. Now, I know Dalton Kincaid is a tight end, but he did a lot of the work as well. And these are two guys I will be building my team and offense around this year. Whoever else we had, these are the two guys I would trust. There are two guys that have done it in the last 12 months. Now give them their chance and let them do it again. I wish Stefon Diggs all the best. I just think it was time for him to go. Things are getting toxic. And I hope he does well at the Houston Texans. But I hope he goes in with an attitude where he might think he's him personally, but let him keep it in there and just be a team player. Because I know I should be rooting for other teams, but I do like CJ Stroud. I think he's an awesome quarterback. And D'Amico Ryans has done amazing work there in just 12 months. And I'd like to see them progress. Not at our expense, so I'm not going to want that, but for themselves. So that's my thoughts there. The next thing I'm going to look at is just the players that have come in so far and players out. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I just seen this on Twitter the last day, or X as it's called now, and I just wrote it down just to see, are we moving in the right way? And by looks of things, we are. So the players that have come in so far are Mitch Trubisky, quarterback, center Will Clapp, wide receivers Curtis Samuel, KJ Hamler, Mac Hollins, defensive tackle Deshaun Williams, Austin Johnson, defensive end Casey Tuchel, linebacker Nicholas Morrow, safety Mike Edwards, and offensive line Lael Collins. He was the last signature that I've seen there from the Cincinnati Bengals on 1 year. The players out: center Mitch Morse, running back Latavius Murray, wide receiver Stefon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Deontay Hardy, who's also a special teams player. Defensive tackle Tim Settle, Puna Ford. Defensive end Leonard Floyd to the 49ers. That's a big loss, but we'll have to get on with it. Terrell Dodson, linebacker. Cornerback Davius White, he's gone to the Rams. I seen them putting out his number today, number 27 again. Dane Jackson, safety Jordan Poyer to the Dolphins, and safety Micah Hyde. Now, some of them players, there's a slight possibility they might come back if the deals can be struck. I know there's rumours about Micah Hyde that he's supposed to be retired, but he might do one more year. So we will see. He's been an amazing player, and I wish him well. But I do think if we're going to rebuild or reboot, and we got rid of Stefon Diggs, and we're going to have to get a wide receiver, then I would be going fresh safety as well and draft whoever you can draft to get. That is basically a lot of my video for tonight. The last thing I want to talk about is I watched WrestleMania for the first time last Sunday night week, WrestleMania 40. And I have to say, it brought me back because I was a huge wrestling fan in the late 90s, early 2000s. Back to the era of, I think it was Aggression, it was called in, Stone Cold, Steve Austin, The Rock, Triple H, GX, the Dudley Boys, Undertaker, Kane, Big Show. They were just amazing, amazing times. And last Sunday night week, watching it and watching Cody Rhodes win the world title, Seth Rollins losing his, with the way McIntyre lost his title afterwards to Damian Priest. It was well put together, and it was very enjoyable. And my favourite match was the Cody Rhodes Roman Reigns match, but for reasons of the way the old stars came in, did their cameo, and disappeared, and then let the match go on. And when the Undertaker came in, the hair stood up in the back of my neck. The way he does that, it's just always has happened that way. And he was only there for 30 seconds, but it made the night. The Rock was there. I'm not a John Cena fan. I wasn't. I sort of disappeared when he came in from it, lost interest in it. He just wasn't a guy for me that I liked. When you had, the battles of The Rock, Undertaker, Stone Cold, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart when he was there, all these, guys that came in a huge, difference of opinions and sizes, and yet they put a show together that was, I watched the old ones before I watched the new stuff. But watching Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns last night, it said maybe there's light again. I know Paul Levesque, he's Triple H, is running the show now, and he knows, I think himself, that what happened back in his day is the way. The only thing I was hoping for at WrestleMania is GX. The music would come on and you'll see them, but it didn't happen. But it was perfect besides that. It was very enjoyable. So I'm going to keep an eye out for a little bit more than what I used to. It's like a show. You watch it, it's scripted, but it's how the script is played. And on that night, it was played very well. So that's it for tonight, folks. As you can see, I have my new cap on. I came today. I like the brown. I don't know. I know many people wouldn't be a fan of it, but buffaloes are brown. They're not blue. And I just think it's a tasty cap. It's got to do with the 60th anniversary, 60 years of the Buffalo Bills. So I've seen it online, and it came within 3 days. So I'm happy out. So anyway, folks, that's the show for tonight. I'm hoping to have a special guest episode later on. I have to just contact the person now and see if they're ready to go, but they were ready to go. And if they are, we'll have another show later on. And then on Thursday night, if there's any news, I'll do a show. And if not, I'll let it roll again to the following Tuesday, because we're into draft week then. But until then, folks, I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you're all keeping well and happy. And until we see each other again, as always, go Bills.